All right, everybody, you know what that music means. It is DC Sports Plus back at you again.
Yeah, holla.
This is episode number 9. We're doing a pod. We needed to get one out anyway, but we're doing this as a specialty, kind of emergency pod. It is June 22nd, Thursday, about 5 o'clock,
Yep.
3 hours from the NBA draft.
Yeah, lot going on.
A lot going on, and we looked at each other. We said, "Man, I got to do a pod.
Yeah,
we got to
man.
get a pod out."
Yeah, man.
So obviously, this pod completely different, completely dedicated to the Washington Wizards and the front office moves that they've been making. So to jump right into it, I'm going to just give the totality of it. Read a couple things that kind of a breakdown of it, and then we're going to get into some of the players of the return, and you're going to give us your take on it, D, too. Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically, trading Bradley Beal, Porzingis, and Chris Paul now, they end up getting Jordan Poole and Ryan Rollins from Golden State. They got Landry Shamet and Tyus Jones. They got Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscala, the number 35 pick from Boston this year, a 2030 first-round pick from Golden State, 7 total second-round picks, 6 of them coming from Phoenix, and then 4 pick swaps with Phoenix. That's the totality of it. All right. The breakdown of it for certain things, here's the Beal part of it. So the second round picks are 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, and 2030. The pick swaps, which is the Wizards have the opportunity, if they have a later pick than the Suns, they can trade in 2024, which I don't see happening, 2026, 28, and 30. So every other year, they can trade with Phoenix and get their higher pick. They got Jordan Poole with flipping CP3. They got the Warriors 30, as we said, 2030 first round pick. The Warriors 2027 second round pick. And they got Landry Shamet from them. Obviously, the big haul with that is the fact that you get Jordan Poole, who's just under brand new, just starting out 4-year, $128 million contract. Believe they're looking to build around him.
Absolutely.
They get Ryan Rollins, who 20 years old, 6'3", shooting guard, was a second-round pick for the Golden State Warriors last year. Mm-hmm. So they're picking up a shooter. Who knows what you get with him? Maybe nothing. Maybe he turns into a good player. Yeah. You don't know.
He can develop.
Yeah. And the one thing I like, Grant Paulson, I'm going to read one of his tweets here. The main part of this is obviously the first part. Many people thought that Paul would be bought out.
Yep.
So instead of having to sit there and buy out Chris Paul for $15 million, we end up flipping him and getting Jordan Poole, a first-round pick, Ryan Rollins, and a second-round pick. And it says Jordan Poole will average the 23 points per game Beal did last season with similar rebounds, assists, numbers that he would bet. This is what Grant Paulson said. He's also 6 years younger and makes $18 million less. And if Poole plays well in expanded role, he becomes a great trade chip too. Or, like I think, they're going to go ahead and build around him because he's young and he can score. And I think you said when you looked him up, in last year he averaged, 21 points a game?
He averaged just under 21 points, so like 20 point something per game in 30 minutes of play.
30 minutes of play.
That's impressive.
That's very impressive. That's a scorer right there. The Gallinari is a salary dump. Muscala is a salary dump. Landry Shamet in the last year of his deal could flip him for something or package him in something or could play him, but he's in the last year of his contract too. And then Tyus Jones is the interesting one for a lot of people because a lot of people thought that that's all we were getting was Tyus Jones in this swap with Kristaps Porzingis, but they ended up working it around, and they end up getting the 35 pick from Boston, which it's not a first round pick. Everybody wants to complain, but like I've seen on Twitter, 90% of it is positive because they understand we have to tear it down. We have to get from under all of these contracts that we had. And let's be realistic. Porzingis was able to opt out of his contract.
Yes.
So he was sitting there and he did us a favor, basically, by opting in so we could trade him to Boston.
Yeah, definitely worked in our favor, him doing that.
Yeah, Beal had a no-trade clause.
Yep.
So we were screwed on that. And then Kuzma obviously was going to go ahead and opt out at only $13 million the way he played.
Yeah.
He's going to be averaging 25 to $30 million a year most likely.
Yeah, we knew that was coming. We knew that opt-out was coming.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. So I know you have some numbers here to look at for some of the guys, and then we'll get into the overall of it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we picked up, Tyus Jones, point guard, 27 years old, 6'2", point guard from Memphis. Again, this and look, let me just preface this by saying, a lot of Wizards fans are going to look at this and say, my God, we didn't get any first-round picks. We didn't get any real, true star players. But you have to understand, you have to look deep into this. That's not what this is about. This is not about that. This is about starting from scratch, building from the ground up. You acquired some picks, a lot of picks. Yes, they're not necessarily first-rounders, but you're getting second-round picks that – in today's day and age, with the depth of basketball now, especially over in Europe, you can find players in the second round that can develop into role players and potential stars.
Who was the second round pick that just recently won a championship? Who was that again?
Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic, second round pick.
Second round pick. In fact, they joke about it, about how when he got drafted, they were playing a Taco Bell commercial when he got drafted. They didn't even announce the draft. It's just a Taco Bell commercial was being played, and then it shows where he gets drafted.
And now, two-time MVP,
two-time MVP,
and a world champion,
and a world champion. And this is something that me and my cousin have been talking about for so long now with the Washington Commanders. Back then, the Redskins, is why can't we rebuild, start from scratch? And what we're doing here, and what the new front office is doing. And I listened to that press conference 2 weeks ago. And that press conference, when we brought in our new front office, our player personnel guy, our GM guy, these guys were going to rebuild this team. Everything they said, the language in their conversations said they are going to rebuild. And they are not wasting any time. The Wizards have been by far the most active team leading up to the draft. I love it. It's beautiful to see. We may have to we probably will go through a couple of years of really struggling. But hey, you got to take steps backward to move forward. Yeah. And the Wizards see that. The new front office sees that. I think this is all a wonderful thing. We're flipping guys. We're getting rid of the huge contracts. We're getting rid of the guys that could be assets and bring in prospects, bring in second-round picks, have plenty of money. And again, Poole, let me tell you something. I'm a big fan of Poole. I mean, he's young. Like I said, he had a career year last year as a backup. Only averaged 30 minutes a game. It was averaging almost 21 a game. 2 years ago, he led the NBA in free throw percentage at 92%.
I love that.
This year was 88%.
I love that. I think
the
basics, man. Me and you always go about it. You can't shoot free throws. So many teams actually lose. Look at that one game against Miami that Denver lost.
Ah, yes.
Horrible free throw shooting that game.
Yes.
And you got to do the basics. Yes. And I think that's what these guys are looking at in the front office, and they're looking for the basics.
And I love it. I think the way the Wizards, the direction we're going in right now, this is a beautiful thing. We are putting ourselves in position. Again, there's no guarantees.
Nope.
There's no guarantees. No. But the bottom line is that it is a travesty. It is a disgrace for the professional basketball team in the District of Columbia to be what it is. We should be contending for the conference every year. When you consider the history of basketball in the DMV region, it makes no sense that our pro ball team is basically irrelevant every year. And what the new front office is doing is they are positioning ourselves to rebuild and have a team that can get on the court and compete for conference championships, and maybe compete for a world championship. And again, it's not going to happen overnight, but what we're seeing is the foundation. They're laying the foundation of what could be a very good and contending basketball team over the next couple of years. We may have to go through some tough years, which we probably will, but I love the way it's starting, and I love the direction we're going in.
Yeah, definitely. So what else you got on Tyus? What I know somebody said there's a couple NBA reporters that had him listed as the best backup point guard in the league.
Yes, they have him listed as that. He had, I tell you, his numbers. Here's a guy that was a 91% free throw shot. Again, here's another guy.
Yeah.
Free throw shooting is big. He had a career year this year where he averaged 5.5 assists a game. Great coming off the bench. Great character guy. Young, can run the offense. Yeah. Very few turnovers. Get steals. He averaged 1.5 steals a game.
Yeah, and that's and as backup goes, he was actually forced into being the starter with the John Morant suspension.
Exactly.
So he started those 20 games or whatever it was that John Morant missed.
Yes.
So he's somebody that has some starting experience, but again, a lot of people consider him possibly a trade chip.
Possibly a trade chip.
Maybe he starts for us and he's our starting point guard. Maybe our guys have more in the tank. Maybe they're going to make some more moves, which the stuff that I'm hearing is that they're probably not done. So that's exciting, hearing that they're probably not done with what they've already done. Now, what do you got on our boy Shamet?
Yeah, now Landry Shamet. Here's another guy, coincidentally, same age as Tyus Jones, 26 years old, 6'4", shooting guard. Another guy that basically was coming off the bench and gave good depth, good character guy. This year, he averaged about 9 points a game, about 2.3 assists. But again, he was coming off the bench. He was a role player. And here's what I love, though. Again, free throw percentage, 88%. Tops in the league.
Love it.
So this is a guy that fundamentals are good, character's good, young guy, which means he's got a lot left in the tank. His career's not coming to an end. Yeah. He doesn't have a high contract. He doesn't have a big contract where it's killing us for salary cap or any issues there.
Yeah.
And this is a guy where, again, he could be used to flip him possibly, or he gives you a young character perimeter player that can provide quality minutes for you on the perimeter. And that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, for 1 year, because he's only got 1 year left on his contract.
Mm-hmm. Another expiring contract.
Yeah, another expiring contract, and if he works out good and they like him, they could always re-sign him.
Right. Exactly.
So that's just another piece that they added in. I got Ryan Rollins' little thing pulled up here. Like I said, 20 years old, 6'3". He was the 44th pick in the draft last year out of Detroit, Michigan. Shooting guard, 180 pounds. Again, played his college at Toledo, so he's a small school type of guy.
Yep.
Could end up being a gem.
Yeah.
Could end up being a backup.
Right.
Could end up just being nothing.
Right. Don't know, but you don't know until you try.
Exactly.
You got to bring in the reason why these guys are young prospects. You got to, when you build a team, you don't build a team by bringing in a bunch of stars and a bunch of high contracts. You do it from the ground up. Right. You bring in your foundation. You get in your bench players. You get in your depth guys, high character guys that have very good contracts that you can work with. And then when you're able to, you develop. You have a star develop here and there. That's what you have to do. But you got to start somewhere. Got to start somewhere. And I tell you, like I said, and my cousin talked about this. The Jordan. I am shocked. And I know that we have different ideas. We both agree on what might have happened with why Golden State got rid of him. But Poole, Jordan Poole, talk about upside. Just to kind of break it down to you real quick, here's a guy that 2 years ago averaged 18.5 points a game, averaged 30 minutes per game, again, 2 years ago, same amount of minutes. This year, again, 20.5 points a game. So his points per game average went up by 2, but he still had the same amount of minutes. Again, big-time free throw shooter. This is a guy that is ascending. This is a guy that's on the rise.
Yeah.
And for an organization like Golden State to part ways with a young, quality perimeter player such as Poole that's really going up, he's ascending. Right. This tells me that they probably feel like, wow, with obviously with Steph Curry and whatnot, that he's probably not going to have much time. Yeah. He's not going to get money minutes, and he wants to come and do his own thing.
Exactly.
And that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, and I think, the Draymond Green situation where whether
The
they
altercation.
the altercation where he punched Jordan Poole and knocked him out. That could have played into it. That maybe that coincides with them bringing Draymond Green back.
Yep.
To where he's not going to go anywhere else. He's going to go ahead and cut a new deal, bring him back. And like you said, with adding Chris Paul, seems like they're gearing up to make another run.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely going on. They figure they could bring in Chris Paul. He can run the offense. He can facilitate the ball. Steph Curry can just set him up for threes all day. That's what they're trying to do. But they're parting ways with a really good young perimeter ball player that I am high on, that the league is high on. And, for what it's worth, and I think it's worth a lot, there are 82 games in a season, right?
Right.
What does that say right there? My brother, what does that say?
Oh, he played 82 games.
Okay, does that mean he played every game?
It means he played every single game.
Now, that tells me something. That means he's durable. That means he's out there competing. And again, I love it. He's 24 years old, and he's still developing. He's still getting better. And this is the type of player that the Wizards needed to have. I'm so excited that we have him. I can't wait for him to get in there, get in the gym, get acclimated with the players. And I just think it was great that we were able to pull him off of one of these deals.
Yeah,
I really do.
Whether you like it or not, if you're listening to this podcast, that is the new face of the Washington Wizards.
Yep.
That is the guy they are building around. That's who Michael Winger and Will Dawkins.
Yeah.
That's who they identified, because this is we always sit there and say that everybody else, for all of our teams, everybody else is playing chess and we're playing checkers.
And we're playing checkers. Yep.
These dudes are playing chess.
Oh, they play.
They're
chess,
thinking 3 moves ahead.
Oh, yeah.
They knew the backlash from not getting a 1 for Bradley Beal and all this, but they knew they had an opportunity to get Chris Paul and to flip him, and they knew it was one of 2 places. It was either Clippers or Golden State.
Yep.
These dudes know what they're doing. Trust the process. We're going to be fine, and we won't be one of those playing for the play-in game every year that we've been trotting out there. They are actually going to be making moves. They're going to bring in a whole bunch of young guys. They're going to see if Deni Avdija is somebody to help build the team up. Yeah. He's in the last year of his contract.
Yep.
So they're going to see whether or not this guy is worth spending the money on. And maybe it is. If you got Poole and him as kind of your backbone, you got the number 8 pick. And like I said, who knows what else we'll end up with. I don't think they're done. I think they're still moving, they're still shaking, and they're still going to be looking to do something before this night's out tonight. So this is the most excited I've ever been about a Wizards draft.
Oh yeah, I can honestly say that. I've never. This is by far. I mean, I'm almost as excited as it is during the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And I don't even put the NBA draft in the same stratosphere with the NFL draft as far as excitement and how much it means to me and to a lot of people. The NFL draft is so much more popular. But as my cousin just led to, this particular NBA draft, there's a buzz if you're a Wizards fan.
Yes.
And you see the changes. You see the beginnings of sculpting this team, of building this team literally from a foundation up. Something that I wish the Redskins, now Commanders, would do. And hopefully, not that this isn't about the Redskins Commanders, just this particular pod, but I just want to throw out there, hopefully Josh Harris does the same thing in a similar fashion where he just rebuilds it. But that's another time, another discussion for another time. But anyway, I just love the fact that the Wizards are doing this. Me and my cousin are so excited about it. I can't wait to see over the next couple of years what becomes. Again, we're probably going to have to go through some lean years, but that's what happens when you rebuild. You go through lean years. It's part of the process.
Yep.
It's part of the process. I was telling my cousin earlier today, if you're somebody that's overweight and you're looking to lose weight, those first couple of weeks, that first month or two, it's very difficult. You're struggling. You got to get your body acclimated to exercise. It's the same thing here. When you've been an organization that has been down in the dumps and struggling for so many years, it's going to take time to get rid of all that stink, all that stench, all that just bad karma. And then you're able to build it back up and bring in the players that you want to bring in, high character guys, young guys that don't have an albatross of a contract. And then you could start seeing them move forward. Then you could start seeing them find a franchise player by draft. Maybe, just maybe, because free agency is so big in the NBA nowadays, that this becomes a destination.
Yeah.
And maybe a star player wants to come to an organization after a couple of years of showing that we can become maybe a top upper echelon association, or building block. And I love it. I think this is something that's very exciting. And again, Me and my cousin couldn't be happier for the Wizards. It's a new dawn, baby. It's a new dawn.
Yeah, it is. And like we said, it's going to start off rough, and that's to be expected. But if you're listening to the pod and you're pissed off with what they're doing, then you're just not understanding the process and what has to happen. You get rid of those big contracts. Like I said, the fact that they got anything for Chris Paul is amazing.
That's amazing to me.
And not just that they got anything, they get a face of the franchise, to me, Jordan Poole, a 4-year, $128 million contract. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be the face of the Wizards franchise moving forward.
Absolutely.
And they got a first and a second round pick for 38-year-old Chris Paul.
Yep, 38-year-old Chris Paul.
I mean, so everybody that was talking crap about the front office, about what we didn't get for Bradley Beal, who had a no-trade clause, what we really didn't get in the Porzingis trade. Porzingis, again, did us a favor by opting into his contract and us being able to get anything. We weren't going to get nothing for him.
No.
He could have opted out of his contract of the $36 million option, opted out, been a free agent, signed with whoever he wanted. Mm-hmm. Him and his agent decided to do us a solid, opt in as long as we could send him to Boston. Yeah, we only got the 35th pick and we took on some salary. But we got a 35th pick for nothing, basically.
For nothing. Yeah, for
because Porzingis wasn't going to be here. He wasn't going to opt in and play for a franchise that had no chance of making the playoffs.
No, not at all. I mean, you're basically, it's just gravy on top. It's gravy
It is.
at the end of the day because he wasn't going to be here anyway.
Exactly.
I mean,
so you got these extra draft picks that you have, and I think we have the 8.
Yeah, we have 8.
35.
35.
And then we have
40. Is it 41 and 57? 42 and 57.
I think it's 42 and 57 right now. Yeah. Which could still change based on what they do. Because, like I said, this is ever evolving. And just another kudos to the front office here for they had the trade in place with the Clippers at 11:30-ish, I think. No, 10:30. 10:30. He was in place. The Clippers, we were going to get the 30 pick, take on Marcus Morris, and we were going to go with that. Come to find out that the Clippers weren't satisfied with the medical with Malcolm Brogdon coming from the Celtics. So with an hour and a half left to the deadline for Kristaps Porzingis to opt into his contract, with an hour and a half left, they pivoted along with the Celtics and were able to get Tyus Jones from Memphis.
Yep.
And then end up getting the 35 pick from Boston. When again they could have gotten shut out and got nothing for it.
Yeah.
So that is, I mean, you talk about putting in work. These dudes put in work, and I think they're doing it the right way. And obviously, they have a good reputation around the league,
a very good reputation,
because they're able to call people up and get stuff done with an hour left to go before this deadline.
Oh yeah. That and again, and just to confirm that, absolutely correct. We pick 8, 35, 42, and 57. So we have 3 2s and 1 1. Obviously, you all know that second round picks in the NBA aren't what they are in the NFL, but that's not the point. The point is that the NBA has never been deeper or more or greater or more depth ever than before. Second round picks can impact teams. They can develop. You've got the European League.
Yeah.
You've got the G League.
Yeah.
You've got so many opportunities to find gems. It can happen. Guys are not, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who many people think, if not is the best player in the world right now, top 2 or 3 best players of basketball.
Right.
Go ahead and Google Giannis Antetokounmpo and look at his numbers the first 3 years in the league. He was averaging 8, 9, 11, 12 points. He was averaging 12, 13 points a game. He was a raw player. He was drafted 13th overall. It took Giannis 3 years to develop into what he's become.
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic, probably the greatest ball player right now in the world, as of right now, was a second-round pick. It took him 3 to 4 years to develop. Yeah. So the reason I'm saying this is that if you draft a guy in the second round in the first year or two, he's not a star. Doesn't mean he's not going to turn into one. It's
Right.
like he's not going to turn into a good ball player.
Right.
It's all about the front office finding guys that are hidden gems, guys that are going to develop into capable basketball players that can contribute to this basketball team and move us forward in a positive direction. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. And who else needs second round picks? Because there's nothing saying that we're going to keep all these second round
That's
picks.
true, yeah.
Who needs second round picks? It's these teams that are good that need minimum salary guys.
Minimum salary.
So you can't get much more minimum salary than a second round pick.
Yeah.
So you could see them flip these second round picks and try to maybe move up from 8.
Yeah.
Or maybe try to move up from 35 into the first round.
Oh, yeah.
They can package these because you say, oh, what good is a second round pick? Well, like I said, you look at somebody like Phoenix.
Yeah.
Phoenix really needs
Oh, man.
second round picks, and I know we just got them from them, but I'm saying those type of teams where they have all this money invested in their starting 5, but you have 8 other people you need to have on the team.
Yeah.
So you need to have these second round picks. They are valuable. So these other ones, this future picks, we're not picking all of those second round picks.
No.
All of those 6 second round picks we got from Phoenix and the one from Golden State, they're not going to stay. Some of those are going to be flipped and packaged into something else because people need bargain basement guys, and they identify certain players in the second round that can help them, maybe right away, maybe in a couple years, just like we said, they may work out, they may not, but there's only 30 NBA teams. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me that with all of the colleges and all the overseas players that there's only 30 first round players.
I don't believe it. I refuse to believe it. And let me tell you something. Let me say this. For every Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and LeBron James and Tim Duncan and all-time greats, there's a Kurt Rambis.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
There's a Bill Laimbeer.
Yeah.
In other words, for every star, there's a role player that, and I don't want to sound like a cliche, but I will, the player that does the dirty work.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to use that phrase.
Yeah.
That gets the big rebound, makes the big pass, does the right big plays down the stretch to assist the stars for winning. Draymond Green is a guy that maybe averages 11, 12 points a game, but he's the cog in that Golden State wheel. And the point being is that you need players like that to compete at the highest level, because you do not win championships. You do not compete for conference titles with just having a couple of stars and a bunch of guys to sit around and watch. You have to have your role players. You have to have the guys that are unselfish. The guys that are going to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the team. And what better place to find them in than in the second round? And again, some of those second round picks may develop better than that. But point being is that you need your role players.
Yep.
You need the guys that are going to do the dirty work as well.
Yep.
That is my point.
Yeah, and I thought you were going a total different direction when you said for every Magic and Bird. I thought you were going to the busts.
Okay.
So that's why. So I just pulled up just a couple names. So for every one of those, you have a Greg Oden, who
Bust.
was number 1 in 2007. If you're a Wizards fan, you know Kwame Brown, Michael Jordan's pick, at number 1 in 2001. You got Darko Milicic for the Pistons, number
my
2
God,
in 2003.
awful.
I mean, so for every one of those, you have a bust to go with it. So nothing is a guarantee with any of this. What you hope is that you get talent, you start amassing talent with these younger guys, and then, like you said, becomes a destination where then you can add that superstar player that does a sign and trade to us instead of the opposite way around. And again, A+ for these dudes, what they're doing right now. And we're sitting here right now at 5:30. I don't think they're done. I think today there's still more that this Wizards front office is going to do to help better the trajectory of the team.
I agree. And let me just say this as we wrap this up. The Denver Nuggets won the World Championship. Homegrown talent.
Yeah.
Role players and homegrown talent.
Yep.
The team that they beat, the Miami Heat, they bring in Jimmy Butler a couple years ago. He was the 30th pick in the draft back in 2011. Almost a second-round pick.
Yep.
Jimmy Butler is one of the best ball players on the planet.
Yep.
And he was picked almost into the second round. Almost.
Yeah.
You have developmental players, guys that were backups that assisted in Miami getting to the finals this year because they do it the right way. They find players and they develop them.
Yep.
And there's a Miami Heat motto. It's the Miami way, the way they do it, the way Pat Riley does it. And that is what I'm hoping that we can go and do the same thing, follow the same format, the same footsteps in that direction so that we can be a team that's respected and compete every year for an Eastern Conference title.
Hell yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah, baby.
All right, so appreciate y'all listening. We'll have this up here either today or tomorrow so y'all can listen. Tell your friends. Let everybody know. This is, like I said, this is a whole podcast, 30-minute pod just on the Wizards. It may never happen again.
May never happen again.
But we're so excited about the way the trajectory is. We wanted to get one out to y'all. Hopefully y'all feel the same way about it because it is exciting and it is going in the right way. Yeah. So again, like, subscribe on YouTube. We're on Spotify. Tell your friends. Listen to us. Get the word out there. We love y'all. Thank you very much.
Holla.